the way, we are about to start. Of course, first the operator bands. If you are just tuning in, first of all, welcome.
Hello.
I hope you have been enjoying the major so far, and if this is the first match you're going into, let us paint a picture. FaZe Clan is taken up against BDS, and both of these are considered favorites. However, BDS was just beaten on their own map with 7-3. It's not really going well for them so far, and they need to turn it around here on Chalet. If they fail to do so, they will be eliminated yet once again. And we said it before, if not now, then when? Well, definitely not now, if they would be taken out.
They are one of two hopes, obviously, for EU, with Rogue having a bit of success against their Latin American counterparts in their showdown. So maybe this is a bit of FaZe Clan getting a little bit of revenge for LATAM here, as they've been able to drive themselves so well, obviously built behind Cyber, who is still having such a phenomenal tournament.
He definitely is, and that is one of those main difference points you have to point out. Cyber is one of the star players of FaZe. They said it themselves as well in their intro video when we just got going. Shaiko is considered to be one of those counterparts, the man who manages to get tons of frags and opens up the site and single-handedly runs it out. Basically like Rin and Yas, if you want to make the comparison towards DK. If you want to look at it like that, they open up sites, they create opportunities for their teams. Shaiko, however, was at least struggling to really do his job, or what he's good at, so to say. And that does create quite a bit of a gap.
It was a tricky opener map. It was a tricky time to sort of get in. Don't get me wrong, he hasn't come into this as the de facto body. He is the best entry in the whole tournament, or was at the start of the day. He was joint KD with Brede, who is their top rated player, because Brede also plants. His consistency there is such a big drive. What we saw BDS not quite able to lock down was the objective pushes on their attacks. For a team that is often so good and so consistent with making sure they are where they got to be when they got to be there, it was cautious was the main word that I threw around a couple times, and it felt it. And you really hope, if you're a BDS fan or not a FaZe Clan fan, if for some reason, you would have them have a team talk and have them try and rebuild that, and as I said, remind themselves how good they can be, because they got to be better than that right now.
They have to be better indeed. They need to make sure they push this to a third map, because the pressure is upon them. Only 7 rounds currently differentiate themselves between potentially going through or being eliminated from the tournament. 7 rounds they can lose right now. Anything more than that, or that, so to say, they're done for. 6 is the max in that case. Now, FaZe starting off on the attack on a map that, which is heard by our analysts, seems to be quite hard for BDS in their defense, as they have a 0% win rate on the bedrooms and they just do not go bottom floor.
Ranchiro is in a bit of a power position here over the top, but they also have the extension on the top of the stairs. It is 2 places that need each other to survive. The extension here is also Shaiko, though, who's found his way just around Piano and on that hop-in window, but you can see that the FaZe Clan players have actually gone for a bit of a flat take here. They've set themselves and their sights towards the top of Solarium, but this quick movement from Astro and Bullet is that drive towards the site itself via dining, via that lock-in. FaZe are still playing their game, which is so quick on these approaches.
It is quite quick, and that is also one of the things we have seen during the attacks that FaZe brought. The second round that was on bank with the Amaru truly working out, or miraculous you could say. Bit of damage being done towards Cameraman, that is due to the smoke canister being deployed, but they are not quitting on hitting the site as of yet. Grenades are being tossed in to return the favor towards BDS. And as it's only Lem's currently in the bar and a man inside the pantry, the verticality is going to be key here. The question is, will BDS have the opportunity to use it, or will they be just shut out plainly?
FaZe has been able to get themselves into a lot of tricky situations here, and now as they start to prep open the take above, you're still looking at a lot of damage that's been done to BDS. Brede is the one that's taken most of the health, but the structure is starting to be broken away. The hold on pillar opens up, which allows Souls to scream his way to Fireplace. A trade happens towards the top there, and it's Renshiro with a very important double kill to just keep some of that momentum. Souls has actually had to pull a bit further back. don't have the clarity and the confidence they thought they did. And there is one more. And Shiro on the top floor shows up huge. A spray over the top, gets that final FaZe player backed off and pushed towards dining, where they made their quick approach. Suddenly, they've been quickly rebuffed, and sure, 2 BDS players are blinking and pretty injured, but with 20 seconds, all they got to do is lock it down, keep an eye on that diffuser, and Bullet likely won't be able to take this round.
FaZe got quite close up to the actual site this round, but weren't able to win those final gunfights. Just a couple of them, which they could have locked out, would have been resulting in them being there with the diffuser now. Lems gets that very final kill. BDS, they started map number 2, very strong. A first round on the board for them. 4 members still left standing. It's basically the next best thing you can do after a flawless round. Kitchen Dining will be up next. That's their second bomb site out of, well, 2 that they seem to be very good at. According to Fresh, of course, and the statistics. Things might change, however, as it is a match with higher stakes. Some strategies might have been hidden up until this point. Ooh, and Shiro with that amazing double and later triple kill. Truly playing a huge role here for BDS.
I mean, he looked it off. I called it at the very beginning. It's a power position. It controls so much space. And they're able to dismantle some of the utility, but when it came down to dismantling the player, and Shiro, who throughout this tournament hasn't really been as electric and as locked down as the Rock that he's often cited to be, shows up. But if we throw our minds back to how Bank started, it was an impressive 3K from Lems, and then suddenly things started to slip a little bit away from them. Can BDS make sure they do something they haven't done all day and try and tie a couple of rounds together?
Indeed, they need to try and figure out a way to extend that lead and make sure that it keeps on carrying in their favor. And momentum is what they need to build. I mean, they started off strong. Seems like they have reset well for that first map, and they want to bring it to a third. They need to bring it to a third, because if they don't, then they're out of the tournament. There's a lot at stake here during the Chalet match. And as the rotations are still being created, BDS as well, some of the members are debating, like, should we make this a rotation? Should we not? Or should I just save that impact for later on?
FaZe is seeing if they can get gifted by a peak. They have an impression that somebody is playing that aggressively, and it's Renshiro that suffers quite a lot. Said the man of the moment before is suddenly under a huge amount of fire as they try and cut their way towards the west main take. They're looking at a bit of a short, sharp push here with Cameraman going underneath by the looks of it on the far distance, or maybe just going for a wider rotate to offer some of that width. In the meantime, FaZe has been able to take over some of the control, and the proximity in the plant isn't going to fool them. Good play, good pings, and a good take on a map that is so dangerous for drones and hidden utility.
Selma's being tossed out here just to open up in the box. It's not the eventual site. Still need to fight one down, but at least that opening will guide them in getting the top floor control. That aids them, of course, with some of that verticality, using the buck to open up that ceiling. This Cameraman yet again with that very first kill. Lems drops. The push continues.
Cyberzera has gone to try and offer some position here on the side. As I said, his Cameraman is on the Solarium windows, but it's Astro that drives through, drops Rafal, and now they're going to see if they can just keep pushing. He's going for the rotation as Rafal's down in the box with Renshiro and Shaiko now both underneath. The site has entirely, generally been pulled back to now. This Cameraman is going to see if he can go for the rotate towards the trophy window. Shaiko in the back line as Bride is able to at least get the first and pull themselves slightly closer towards dining. But with that hatch soft, it's only really a matter of time. Bride's got on an adventure, to be fair. He's going to see if he can get the extension. Renshiro tries to offer the finish on the job here, but with a minute, FaZe have a lot of time to try and reconfigure.
Just need to get the information and need to figure out where they are. Well, that is going to start opening up by the way. His Cameraman picks up yet another kill. Shiro takes the fight through the hatch, but gets shot in the back by Cameraman. It's only up to Bride now. He was offside. He needs to come back. And as soon as that laser gate deactivates, they know where he will be coming from. They know anyway. And Astro gets that final kill. It will be FaZe that brings it back yet once more. The lead of BDS was short-lived. And will be drew back by FaZe here now.
Yet again, FaZe have been able to respond to BDS taking around. Yet again, BDS have found themselves a little bit on the back foot now as it's a bit of an even split. This is a good map for attackers. It's generally twisted that way in the terms of the statistics, but it's also a good map for FaZe and not a great map for BDS. They've done better than their most recent performance on it in the French Nationals, where they didn't get a single round. And better is better.
It's improvement.
It's improvement.
But you need more than improvement right now in this phase of the tournament. It's no longer the group stages where you can afford to lose some matches. It is now the playoffs. Every single game you play, you can afford to lose a singular map. Where you do it, doesn't really matter. As soon as you do, you cannot afford to lose another one because that would be your elimination. I do have some news, however. BDS already lost on the map, so that card is on the table. They don't have the extra life anymore, and that means that they need to perform now. They cannot let FaZe get into their groove that only Rogue so far has been able to break.
That's it. Rogue, the team that have just knocked out the most recent major winners with the best rated player, and the team that beat FaZe Clan. They'll be watching this, and BDS obviously, they would have learned, they would have gone over those thoughts and seen if there was any things and tricks that they could pull together, but making those connect, making those hit the mark on the day is the tougher player, especially when Cameraman was able to drive in for that multiple kill on the backside. And that's it with FaZe, is they're so quick to adapt to a weakness. They see it, they smell it, and they hunt it. And make sure that it's something that is punished post-haste. Here, the burn towards the bottom of Snowmobile comes together. Not the most commonly seen sight, but the structure of it might give something a little bit sturdier to the whole to BDS.
I mean, it was said before, right? Their top floor hold has a 0% win percentage. They just didn't play bottom floor yet. Here it is. Maybe that one will work. They'll just have to try. As they start opening up the angles, FaZe, of course, they know how to attack this. It is a very hard site to truly extend on. So the extensions are normally just roamers sitting about and trying to live as long as they can. And the Lambs picking up the entry there definitely helps as well. The air jab won't be doing too much damage there as he's just all thrown off path for just a second. FaZe, they go on the hunt now.
Right place, right time, took the air jab, but now they have their eyes on Renshiro, and there he goes, locked off. Alems baits for the fight and tries to break that mantle and go for the trade off the top, but seemingly Astro was a little bit aware of that attempt. Now, as they found themselves with a pretty good clearance, a late potential pest there, hoping he was followed by the drones of FaZe, which quite frequently roll after them, but look at this. FaZe is angling themselves towards this hatch. That box is about to get popped open as they've got themselves locked down over that main stairs. Shaiko turns away at the worst possible timing, and now that's entirely open to route through onto the site.
Not quite sure what happened there. A big mistake from Shaiko to come through. Gives away his life basically due to that piece of timing. Proc's sensors are being scanned, are being pinged. FaZe is about to strike the site. There is a minute left on the clock, and Bullet and Astro, they will be pushing through blue. Brede is the only man that can stop them here. He takes quite a bit of damage and eventually does go down. Alems rotates back around. He needs to open up the door as yet another BDS member falls. They know exactly where he is as Cyber drops the hatch and gets that very final kill. FaZe dismantled them on that bottom floor. The one positive thing about this for BDS, they can go back to the side that they've won so far.
I mean, silver linings.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to try and find them. Because it's not really going too well for them.
I mean, yeah, it's just tough. You're looking at how sharp FaZe are, how quick they are at taking these fights, and there's little moments of BDS where you go, this is BDS, and then little moments like that where you're like, oh no, this isn't really that BDS that we wanted to see in this game. It's tough and it's tricky because both teams came into this statistically great. It was another one of those sort of builds where every single BDS player was generally positive, apart from Renshiro coming into this. Exactly the same with FaZe, where every single player was positive on KD, apart from Souls. It should feel a little bit more evenly matched, but BDS just aren't on their day.
It should feel evenly matched, but it seems like they're currently crumbling under the pressure. There is still plenty of time, don't get me wrong. We're only 3 rounds in, just heading into round number 4 now of that second map. But, and that's a big but, they have lost their first, and that was their own map pick as well. Now, we know they have something up their sleeves on the attacks. Their defenses haven't always been the strongest, especially not if you've only had wins on 2 of the 4 sites. But at the same time, if FaZe is going to be able to lock this off with a 5-1, for example, then it is going to be a very tall hill to climb to still come out with a win and be the second European team to make it through the semis. And as Bullet holds a very tight angle, as BDS that is inside that pantry, knows that he will be under pressure. He cannot afford to move. Grenades surely will be tossed in at some point, especially when this library falls into the hands of FaZe.
And that's it. And I guess we're going to see if they try and adapt and lock off Renshiro, or they go with a little bit of pace. It seems like they didn't feel confident with a take towards the back line of BDS, but there's Renshiro being attemptedly blown up. Cyber is on the far side, and they're sort of trying to bait each other into a bit of a firefight here over that long balcony Overwatch, but nobody is giving up just yet. There is still other players from FaZe that are droning out above. They're seeing if they can get an angle towards Renshiro, and Astro is going to try and make his deep drive, and Cyber makes it at the same time, and Renshiro, the man of the round before, but Shaiko bites back over the split of the connection. They're going to see if they can dabble with it, but slips away. Doesn't extend, doesn't over push, and pulls them into at least a good situation. But then I say it, and he goes and drives. Astro gets one, and Shaiko bites back, a double. And he's starting to find a couple of these players.
Now Rafal coming to help as well from the actual staircase, hoping that they can together retake that top floor. But FaZe seeming to go for a rotate. They could be going for a plant here. BDS is the one man that can hold them off as the hatches do get opened up. All 3 are in a position right now. All Souls needs to do is go in deep, but he gets picked up by BDS. A huge kill for him right at that moment. And the pings are starting to come in. They just need to get the pre-fires through. They just need to get the kill as BDS almost gets a second.
He's looking for the connection, but they're looking for BDS, and BDS locks it off, and this is a much tighter defensive gun than before. If I said they didn't win their ones in their previous round, this time they made sure they connected, and they find their second defensive round.
Very big double kill there from Shaiko on that top floor, retaking the control, really, well, demolishing the attack as it was about to be starting to build up. All they needed to do was keep that top floor control. If they had that under lock and key, grenades could be tossed in to move BDS out of his position. The Shaka just swung in and managed to survive after the first attempt. He was able to pick up a second kill, and with that Cyber as well, an important kill. Of course, BDS stopping them from digging in deep. A very crucial play as well.
Okay, BDS, a bit of energy and a bit of life and 2 rounds. You found yourself even, but you're back to Kitchen, a site that obviously slipped away from you. It was a great take from FaZe. They restructured themselves, they took the fight on the top, locked it off, and the big rotate round onto that trophy window was the blow. The Banshee is alongside it. They're going to see if that can give them a little bit more heat. I'm curious if they try and offer a little bit more substance above, if they think that's going to be the answer, or they instead try and be a little bit more mobile. As we saw in that previous round, Shaiko and Alems were pulling themselves back into the fight. They dedicated more above. They went, well, if FaZe are going to try and take it, let's meet them at their game.
The thing is, however, something we have seen multiple times before, also not specifically this side, but FaZe, there's always that opportunity of going in from the basement, up the west main stairs, and you suddenly find yourself into the site. BDS need to be ready for that. It doesn't seem to be the plan, however, at this very moment, but it could always be called somewhere in the next minute or so. And with there only just being a singular player currently on that side or 2, I must say, they are quite prone and vulnerable to such an attack. Especially if they do manage to get that plan down.
Now they're going to see if they can find the fight over the top here. It's a hot hop, and with the Frostband they played down, it's at least not going to be something that ends them, though they are still overly cautious, just in case, double checking that nothing is underneath them to give a bit of a game away. A quick approach, once again, as they find themselves here already putting pressure onto the box wall. It's going to start to get popped open, and they're making sure that they can sort of minimize the width that BDS are allowed up here on the top. Everything becomes dangerous, and that fighter in Piano is going to have to be a lot more concerned about the sudden rush that might occur.
Shaiko going aggressive here, hoping to pick up Cyber. Doesn't quite hit that shot as the Gemini walks in to get rid of the Irony laser gate, and the Cyber that picks up the very first kill. Shaiko is now neutralized. They keep on pushing. However, though, they want to get that top floor control. There is no slowing down. Just get in position, get the information, and strike yet once again.
It was so well played by Cyber, but to be fair, what really hasn't been this time around behind that Aruni gate as it got popped by the Gemini made sure that they followed those traces all the way home. Rafal, he puts a bit of a hefty fight in onto a wall that starts to break down and across, but it's from the side that he gets caught out, and Bullet is the one that locks it off. Another vertical take, another clean push from FaZe Clan here as they find themselves only slightly scratched and scraped, but they also get a trade-off.
Was a run out coming through the garage there. Cyber was able to punish him. Alem still being active on the Solarium stairs, however, has a great opportunity to try and go for a bit of a flank, as there's only a singular member of FaZe right now currently the floor below the side. The rest seems to be on that top floor. They need to descend at some point, and with every second that passes, the pressure becomes more and more. Alems picks up the first. Astro down, brings it back to a 2-on-3. Suddenly the numbers start to get in favor. Here is Brede with the Alba playing on the close end here. Needs to pick up some kills as well.
A very dangerous run and a very great take from Bullet from deep. Takes care of Alems, and the pings are consistent and the spray is misaligned, but FaZe is on point. They pull ahead once again and find their third attack.
Pistol even being used there for the last very kill. And now FaZe, as you mentioned, is ahead, 3-2. BDS, they need to find the sides. They need to find a side to play on. Have one more opportunity. And it seems it's outside of your view right now to be kitchen and dining again. There was an opportunity. They had some small mistakes, which if gone the other way around, you know, the entire round could have gone the other way around. The top floor is just something that FaZe want to clear early on. It's something they continue to clear early on. And as the Jackal will be picked, that roam clear seems to become even more effective for the next coming round.
Now, the previous map ended with a 4-2 half going into the favor of FaZe at first on Bank. If BDS can lock this off, they can double it down, run it back, and get themselves an even half. It might spell a little bit more success because, statistically, well, they're not good on this map, but the defense especially.
Yeah. Yeah, so it could look better a bit now. I still think they want to get that 3-3 in to truly not feel as uncomfortable going into that second half as they might have done before, because there's even more pressure on it now. They've already lost that first map, a 2-round buffer going into the second half without knowing how you will match up against them when you're attacking yourself. It's just a little bit scarier than that 3-3. You have that extra round you could theoretically mess up. And as BDS, again, have two players on the actual direct side. FaZe seem to be going for a pretty identical take. Just make sure that they get that top floor under control. Cameraman, of course, with the Jackal. We're trying to see if he spots any feet, just so the live information keeps him coming in.
That's the big change. The Jackal over the Nomad. The air jab obviously didn't stop and survive their fate, so instead they've opted for something that might make those BDS roamers and players who enjoy pushing aggressively a little bit more concerned, as they're very good at getting the verticality, and then from then on you can really punish a team if you can get a whiff of anything that is around or beneath you. Players like Lems, when he pulled back and sat on Solarium to get that kill, would not work if the Jackal has anything to say about it.
Important information from Bullet here on the actual side. Figures out there's only two players currently. They're like present on the actual side, and as Brede tries to rotate around, the pressure could be coming down from the side of West Main as Shaiko tries to go for a nitro there to create some verticality, but that somehow failed. That means that the door is open. Cyber could be coming in from below. The same goes for Bullet, as Renshiro is doing his best to hold off on the double door.
The flat take will get called, and you can see Alem on the far side of screen going for a bit of rotation. The pings are starting to come through, and Renshiro is going to do his best to keep it locked down, but at this point, FaZe is working out if what they've done is the right decision. The grenades aren't quite connecting, and Shaiko, he's going to see if the second one hits, and it does not, but suddenly they're going to see if they can charge in. Cyber goes up and goes down, knocked down and taken down by Shaiko from above. It's all smokes, all canisters, and all push and fury. But Brede with the big gun on the back gets one. Suddenly it's blue, though. FaZe and Astro are able to strike back in. It's entirely back and forth. They're buried on the dining and buried structurally, leaving just, cameraman, just the Jackal and just this player with 50 seconds to see if he can find the 3 remaining people, as the rush and the pace did not quite have the success they'd hoped.
2 players on the first floor, 1 on the second. Needs to pick his battles wisely here. He's high up on the stairs. The pings are giving away that information. Sees a lot of footsteps as well, as a bit of pressure comes in from that P10 Roni. Draws his attention, however, but wastes a bit more time. That's more important here, as he definitely made himself known here. Goes aggressive, but picks up the first. It's a great kill. As Shaiko now peeks as well. This could be going the other way around if Cameraman is going to land these shots, but no, Shaiko locks it off, and BDS, they close out the half with a 3-3. It's not ideal, but it is something they can work with. It is more pleasant than that 4-2 that it seemed like it might become at the start of the round. And now they need to continue. They need to continue their streak in the attack. They need to show how good they are against FaZe, who's on the defense now, but they haven't shown too much to BDS in their playoff strat book on the side of Chalet. So there's little to prepare for.
That's it. The games that they did sort of play, they were quite quick, and they were often led with the attacks. It was a 7-2.
Yeah, exactly. So there is not that much that they can get out of or get on off. Little that has been shown. And a technical pause is being used here. It could be in favor for BDS.
I mean, it's time to break the momentum. It's always tricky with this situation because, okay, I guess the halftime is the perfect time for this to happen, for them to have a couple minutes to get their heads back on. Because 3-3, yeah, with it being BDS versus FaZe on a map like that, it's not the end of the world. It's pretty good, and they'll know that. They'll have that behind them. They've got laser focus, and they're making sure they can connect. But, again, some of the difference makers that we've seen from this game, and not to just highlight and pin down one player, but a couple of rounds where it starts to spark is when you'll see Shaiko get aggressive, like in that last round, like in about round 3, I think it was, when they started to bite their way back. The other players, they're sharp, but against what Cyber's been able to do, against what Cameraman has been able to do, you need your entry player. You need that first engagement to be a coin that flips into your favor.
I mentioned it before, it's old stats by now, and surely the percentages have changed, but in the old days when you would get the entry, we would say 70% or 80% of the time you will win the round if it doesn't get traded out immediately. That shows you how important that entry is, and why BDS really need to try and find it, especially now they're on the attack. Effectively, they're playing 5v6 because time is on the defender's side, and that truly means that they need to bring it back to equal as soon as possible. They need to get those skills in. They need to grab an opening which they can explode on. Because we know they can do it. We've seen it on maps like Cafe when times runs low and they weren't quite able to get rid of all the, well, barricades or reinforcements that needed to be opened up, or shields. They would just explode through a singular or 2 choke points and still come out on top. But that's in the European League. That's not happened on the Major yet. At least not to the same extent. And the question here is, can they do it now? They're going up to their attack themselves. It's FaZe that is currently a map up and equalized in rounds. That will be on the defense. Not 100% sure, but I believe that Chalet was one of the maps actually where defense was doing quite well in general.
Chalet's a bit of an oddity.
Was it 35%? It was one of the two. There was one.
So it was either really good or really bad.
Really bad.
Yeah. I believe it's really bad. I mean, I could be wrong about this, but I think it's been really bad. It was Vitality took the blame for that though.
That's it.
They said are bad.
Chalet's are bad is what they said about it. Just trying to scroll through it, but can't quite find it in a second. I'll find it sometime, and I'll bring it back up. Of course, it will change after today. A bunch more maps are being played, however. Only 4 in the 2 semi-finals, so we're two maps ahead of schedule. And FaZe, after they have won the first, are looking to lock it off 2-0 as well. Clash being used is going to be an interesting choice here to see how BDS is going to be able to deal with it. If you look at the utility they have on the board, there is going to be the air jabs they can use, maybe some grenades as well. 6 they carry in total, I believe. Even though the overlay tries to trick me by saying 8. Don't believe that.
You won't be fooled again.
I will not be fooled.
It does say
I will learn how to count myself.
Who taught you how to count, Mr. Ubisoft?
Cameras outside though, that is going to be no longer possible in a couple of weeks. So FaZe decides to make the most out of it, using that Valkyrie now to get the information on the outside, and that gives some of the game away. They want to go aggressive. They want to go for these swings to the players of BDS. They're on the outside, just knocking on their doors. I believe that's a Nitro to be tossed out indeed. No kill, but a lot of damage done into Rafal, who was about to rappel up, so good timing. Unfortunate for FaZe, no kill, however.
That was it. A huge connection, and Cyber's the next to suffer as he pulls back. A lot of damage done from the Dangler and Shiro on the far side, but can quite get the connection. Rafal has suffered too. And Astro is the man that might try and meet that mantle, but they have that flank drone, and he's just seen it. So he's going to keep himself there for a hot second and then pull back. Shaiko and BDS are making sure they clear their way across very quickly. And all of these hidden drones, he stood right on one. No idea. Welcome to Chalet, where drones literally disappear.
Be in one of those small plant areas. In the meantime, though, the rest of BDS, quite a heavy push up top. BDS, Shaiko and a piano. Renshiro is about to be entering from above as the pressure really comes on. You just see it now. Rafal coming in from the Astro stairs, or the, well, backstairs. Waiting for the information to be handed out to the rest of FaZe.
The thing about Astro, he has the rotate down with that hatch if he wants to take it, and the clash is going to be the next bit of information. You're going to see how much time they can waste up here as cameraman's blinded. They don't want to leave him alone, and you can see Bullet is going to make that rotate too as, well, they're going to just offer a little bit of support over the shoulder of cameraman. It is an adaptation to what is a pretty standard hold here with the shield at the top, but this time the shield is a person rather than a gun behind a shield. Shaiko with the grenade over the top gets caught out, tries to pre-fire, and that's going to be the difference here, but it's Cyber that goes down first. The Watcher Renshiro locks it off from that double window on the balcony. The C4 almost catches Shaiko. He's wounded, but he's still in. Soul suffers at the meantime on the far side, but look at Astro. He's just hit an air jab. He's found his way through, and Rafal takes the fight and wins it. Very importantly, cameraman is driving in, trying to zap and slow, but Alems is hovering over the hatch of the site itself. Another grenade over the top, but 30 seconds, and BDS are once again hitting that problem where they do not have much time to execute. BDS with a quick hot hatch opening as they angle themselves towards it. Bullet is dug towards that hatch in the default plant spot. BDS is eyeing it up, but cameraman is that watch in that backline. Shaiko dropped around, Bullet on the rotation. They take one. Very important kill, but watch Bullet coming up around the side. Gets one, gets two, drops them down, and now it is just him, but they're going to see if they can stick it. In the meantime, the rotation round towards blue. Rafal is looking the wrong way, now the right way, and will he be able to catch it as it comes up? Yes! BDS lock it off.
Take the lead yet once again here right now. On the first attack right away. It's good for them. They need to make sure that they continue the pressure. They need to make sure that they keep it up because the pressure is truly on them. FaZe have already won their map. The pressure is on BDS, and you know, with the nitros flying out, the amount of information that was gathered outside of it, FaZe weren't quite able to collapse on it. Especially with Rafal just sitting there, had no clue he was that close. Match being taken care of as well. That could have made the entire game a different one again. And unfortunately, the diffuser was not dropped in that flank from Bullet. If that was a diffuser, if that was with him, that would have been as well the timer running out. We can keep on talking about what ifs. BDS managed to get that one, and rightfully so. They just need to continue their attacking spree right now. They got the first, they need to build on that. They need to find 2, they need to find 3, and they need to find yet another somewhere to make sure that they will push it to map number 3 if they want to have a shot at the semis.
They've been able to thread 2 rounds together, and that is generally a bit of a first for today in how they've been able to get into this FaZe team, especially around on their attacks where previously on Bank things just did not quite connect. And it was a little bit less of a distance to go in the second half. The 4-2 lead-in obviously put a split of a round into the problem. But here, that was good. It was better than what it was. BDS still had a handful of time left, and as he said, one different location of a player, and it could have been a FaZe round, but that is this game. Coulda, woulda, shoulda, woulda, was not a... Over the top. Rafal is going to see if they can get the lockdown here as the Lems is instantly inside prep. They are pushing with a pace that we did not see from them on bank.
No, sure. The pace didn't really come out, at least not the same pace that FaZe was able to put up with some of the quick rounds they've had. BDS now need to clear out this top floor as quickly as possible. That leaves them with a lot of time to clear out to where it's that first. Electroclaws have been replaced and picked up yet once again. They were afraid of a potential push to come through from the big garage. However, once they found out most of them came from the library side, they have just more interchanged them. No reinforcements, if you can see, on the box, and that means that's a free opening. Will be taken by LMs. Create the opportunity to quickly rotate through it. Well, be quicker on that top floor control.
Now as Shaco tries to strong arm his way all the way across the top, you can see Bullet and Souls and, well, just Bullet actually gets the drop. Dispatched from the little connector box now as the Lems goes for a bit of width towards the bathroom window. Rafal is trying to creep through, but Bullet is still playing around that angle. You can see they're peppering places, and Renshiro wants to make an entrance too, but look at the stack up here. Astro is underneath and has the potential to cause some devastation. Although that C4, I believe, is used or maybe pre-placed here. Either way, though, they found themselves stuck. The smoke is slowing that roll into the bathroom. They are trying to force a FaZe player out, but nobody is given anything. The air jab puts Bullet in a tricky situation, but they cannot capitalize.
Not yet, at least, as he continues to hold strong. Smoke canisters are being used as well. They want to waste as much time as they possibly can as Bullet now gets taken out. Renshiro with the entry. There is going to be nitros that pop from below. However, as the rest of FaZe is looking to rotate around yet once again, they need to make sure that they waste this time. They need to make sure that it starts running out, and the cameraman going on a bit of a flank. There's going to be that opportunity for them to make sure that once that plan does come down, there is someone left at least to try and stop it.
It's a dangerous fight that's happening because a lot of people are only a couple of bullets and a bit of shrapnel away from death on either side. So Cyber is trying to go for some reverse hunting, but it's Predate that gets locked off first. 20 seconds now, and they're trying to dig their way towards the back of the site, but Cyber does finally find his man. Alems is gone, and it's almost a 4 versus 1 with one more. The spray doesn't connect, though. Rafal is able to get it, but both players need to head downstairs. 10 seconds, and force and funnel their way through. Look at this, though. FaZe has pulled back. They've moved away. They're handing over some territory, and apart from the single player locked in, Souls gets it, and FaZe get even.
Knew there that the plans had to happen on the side of FaZe, and they could just simply strike back once the timer would run out. Make sure they didn't have the opportunity to go for all those 3 frags. Went around on the back of it. Because that's often what happens. When you're in a 2vx situation, the kills are the one that will prevail. But this time around, weren't able to find any. All started off with Bullet being picked up, or rather getting the pick up before he was picked up himself by Renshiro. Nice and clean shot. And after a lot of pressure vertically being put up, but the angle's just not really being cared for too much by the side of BDS, and them being used against you with shotguns or AUGs. We made sure that FaZe was able to lock it back in. We are going to the bottom floor. However, it's going to be the next sides that FaZe will decide to defend on. And let's see if they will be able to find it with success. When BDS decided to do so, we saw some unfortunate timing on the side of Shaiko, who looked away at the moment he did get peeked. And I don't think, well, we might see it happen now, but I don't think it will in this case in the game.
I mean, it's a different drive at this point. It was an unfortunate disconnect, and one of the ones that I think has plagued BDS today a bit is the pressure, as it was put on the desk. Their worst enemy is themselves on the biggest stage. They can play a game so hard and so well, they can go an entire EUL split unbeaten. But as soon as they hit a mark like this, it seems like things get a bit tricky, a bit decisive, and a bit tough to have that connection. Snowmobile, generally empty for now. Astro and Souls do find their way back in towards the end of it, as the extension of the Vault Camrys, again, that buried utility, is such a problem for the Intel game for those to deal with.
It definitely is, but BDS have brought the IQ. Sensor will be used, of course, to get rid of these hidden chems to truly make sure that the information stays limited that will be gained. I am kind of wondering, though, did they see Astro just flashing in front of that drone, or are they unaware of his current position inside of the kitchen? You don't see too much from that cam, but the red ping still works from it. That's all you really need. At least keeps them searching, makes them wonder where they're exactly being spotted from in that moment.
Now, as they steadily their drone away here via trench, they're going to see if they can find their way onto the side of red. They are looking to get a bit of control on really the only section of this take that offers any real width to what you want to do. A lot of it is very boxy, which is why it's not seen too much. Sometimes the verticality becomes the only hold, especially over the snowmobile entrance itself, and it seems like there is still that stretch. Bullet and Cyber are going to waste as much time as possible, and potentially players too. The C4 goes out, but does not catch anybody on the stack up on the entrance.
I wonder if Fal just stayed there. He stayed so calm. He's like, if I die, I die, I guess. I mean, you know, it's like I've given up at this point anyway, but he's allowed to live. FaZe being aggressive on that top floor, really heavy on the roam. In the meantime, some of the BDS members are already knocking at the doors of the site. It's a very, well, site or fight going through two ways now as Rinshiro picks up the very first into Cyber. There's still roams going on as the site is being approached at the very same time, and kills coming down throughout the entirety of the map.
Great take there from Cameraman. Leaned back in to try and get the trade there on the top floor and make sure that territory became so much trickier to get a handle on. The pressure is trying to find its way in now the wall's open, but with the split take behind the little prep room corner, Alems is able to find Bullet. It's a missed opening on that split though, which means it's going to be really only good for shooting. Luckily, Rafal is pretty good. Locks off Astro and now double stacked on the door. Look at this. Cameraman, I said he leaned into the fight before, but he is hopped up on the table, waiting and dropping. Gets his double, gets some revenge, and the hatch and the attempt here on the plant is Brede. Alems is going to come down and offer some flat cover. It's a swing round. Doesn't get the connection, but there it is. The diffuser's been dropped, 20 seconds. Now it's a 2 versus nobody. BDS. They find a round. It's back and forth. They are 1 away from securing OT.
Oh, to get the diffuser there in the very last second. Brede was not gifted that plant stat. Had to clutch it out in the end there. And they keep on trading rounds. BDS currently a round ahead. But for how long? That is that big question. For how long will they stay ahead? Because FaZe have been able to bring it back time and time again. As the replays come through, I said it before, like the fight is going down on 2 different places on the map currently. On and off site at the very same time. It's not something you usually see, but as I mentioned before, it is so hard to properly extend, to set up these multiple layers for the onion rings.
Delicious onion rings. There is some energy from BDS, and this is something that we haven't really seen from them all day. Even when they've been able to take rounds before, it's been quite downtrodden. It's been quite down-tempo. There was a little bit of that French passion that we love to see in here lacking. Low energy, but if the confidence builds, the tighter it gets in a game that already has a huge amount of pressure, well, they've got to start trying to drive that home. They are, technically, 3 rounds away from being sent home, but 2 from taking this to map 3.
Yeah, and the map 3 is that's the moment where they have the opportunity to send FaZe home to be the second European team that will prevail towards the semi-finals. Question is, of course, will they do it? Valcamp's being tossed outside yet once again. Provides a lot of information as they just see Alems walking by, but it can also see the complete south side of the building. See a potential entry from the snowmobile garage, for example. As grenades already being tossed out, Shaiko not able to hit anything as of yet. At least makes the players of FaZe aware that the pressure seems to be coming down from that direction.
Bullet is holding onto that Crux position so far, and they're waiting for a bit of an approach here. We've seen FaZe quite happy to go on and explore, and that's why the Nomad is going to be the consistent here to make sure that they don't get too far. Shaiko almost gets dropped by an exploration out the garage side, but gets a very quick and important reaction. Cameraman is one of those huge players, is one of those active players in the position and the role he has on the defenses on FaZe Clan. Taking care of him it doesn't just get rid of a player, but it also limits that game portion of who is going to be out and about. Well, him and no longer Rafal. Astro gets a bit of damage back the other way. A grenade attempted from underneath, but it's this wait and watch that might be the important factor. Shaiko is so injured, slips away on 1 HP. And Astro might be curious about following up, but Cyber definitely is.
Went prone at the exact right timing there as Renshiro puts up some damage onto Bull and he gets that kill. Keeps us close. Minutemen count 3 on 3 currently. Shaiko, low HP, you just said it. One piece of the shrapnel will be enough to kill him as Alems gets the kill onto Cyber. Diffuser is still something they need to recover as a second flank will be coming through, and he gets that as well, just waiting for them to walk right into their angles. And it leaves it only up to Souls now in a 1v3 possibility to clutch it out, but it won't happen. It's BDS that take it. It's BDS that will put themselves up onto map point.
Alems! That is a player that you kind of want to see show up in moments like that. Things were slightly slipping away from them, especially with the diffuser going down, but driving his way through, finding the triple across the top. An important piece-by-piece separation of players with all the blood and bullets in their body. Shaiko was on cams when they went for the run out as well. Still caught it a great take from Astro, and there it is, the ping and the drop and the swing around from those wrong players. A very important revenge, and that's the part that we're seeing here from BDS, is when they get hit, they're able to hit back, which did not happen on Bank.
Definitely didn't happen there indeed, and now you see the frustration as well. Whilst BDS is starting to live it up again. They were a bit, you know, calm, collected when the map started, not too happy when they won the rounds, but it's starting to come back now, and that is what we know and love from them. When they start having that much fun in these rounds, that is when they are at their most dangerous. And as a tactical timeout seems to be currently on the way, FaZe, they need to try and bring it back now. They have 2 rounds they need to win, whilst BDS has 2 opportunities to lock it off right here, right now, and go to map 3.
And that's it. That's the drive right now, is BDS. They're focused because it's all or nothing. They have 1 opportunity, and it's not as if these attack rounds are entire sweeps. There's still this consistent bite back from FaZe, even when hefty amounts of territory, hefty amounts of trades go into the favor of BDS. As we saw at the very opening round, it just almost took 1 player able to start to cause some chaos here. It's 2 versus 2s, it's 3 versus 3s, it's firefights all over the map. And FaZe are aware of this, but this time they're on the receiving end of things just aren't quite connecting, and BDS are on the giving end of a great second half.
That's it. It's going great so far for BDS, and just a singular round and the next 2 is enough to send them to map 3. That is what they need. They want to bring this to, well, let's not say max OT. I don't think they want that, because that is when stress levels do start to rise again.
I don't think...
But they do want to bring it to a map 3.
Yeah, I don't think
to go to a max OT, for example.
Yeah, but I don't think they want to.
No, I don't think...
I think they would have taken the opposite. They would have taken a 7-0 if they could.
I think either team will be taking the 7-0 here, because it, you know, it secures the result without having to give away too much. As we see the side of FaZe being in the kitchen and the dining. It is Astro that is playing currently from below, hoping to stop a quick entry from the big garage, or potentially go for a run out if the pressure arises again, because we have seen quite a bunch of them so far. Sure, tries to open up the window there, failed to do so a bit.
Well, that's instantly some pressure being put on the back of the hole. They still have Souls, who was just droned out in blue, and he's going to go for a rotation round to the small box connector. What we have here is obviously the repeat of the only site that they've been able to take on their defense so far, and Alems is testing the waters with bullets from range. Astro is on the back line, making sure that those players aren't entirely isolated as Shaiko goes across the top and steadies his way down on a bit of a drone clear. He's trying to find the fight here with Renshiro opening up that width, that extra support. It's 2 different stories with a sort of meet in the middle here of BDS trying to get a bit of a handle, but Alems is actually just sort of offering a back line. He's not trying to dive in, he's just sort of saying, well, if they go this way, I'll get him.
Top 4 control established by BDS, but it's not all. Well, also not the entirety of the top 4, just a big part of it. They now need to go to the actual part where it matters. And it's Bullet that will be the first hoop they need to get over or through. He did take some damage, but he's still active. Still, he's taking the active gunfights here, and as long as he's in that little cubby, he will be dealing damage to the members of BDS.
Now the Mozzie drone is obviously picking up some problems here, and Renshiro wants to try and find a fight. He's not entirely sure if he's getting a connection here, and he's very close, but with 2 minutes pretty much gone, BDS are going to have to start trying to apply the pressure to the firefight itself. They've got all the intel that they want, can use at this point. They know where these players are, but it's actually making the connection towards the fight on the hatch. FaZe realize this. They pull a bit back. They're going to see if they can rely on some of the back line of their utility, including a C4 prepped and placed and waiting for a little bit of a sledgehammer to start hitting the floor. Alems is giving the call, and Bullet is giving Renshiro some bullets. Gets revenge for what he slightly suffered earlier on, and Shaiko's going to see if he can scream his way across the top. And that hold from Bullet on the top was one of the things that brought the round to their favor before.
He did, and as the extra thermic goes off now and opening into the side will be there. Shaiko taking a bit of damage on the very original gunfight here. Takes it his second time around as well as Astro drops through the hatch. Aware of the position of him as he has dropped down. Souls takes a small bit of damage as well as Cameraman comes in for the flank, potentially takes care of the air jab, but he gets picked up right after and secured as well.
15 seconds, they're going to see if they can smoke it off, but the diffuser carrier goes down on the double door. 3 versus 3, but only a handful of seconds, and a 2 versus 1 as everybody starts to fall. It's Rafal that needs to have an opportunity to lock it off now. A bit of width comes through, can't get the connection on either, and FaZe get one of the 2 needed to go to OT.
And it's one of the 2 rounds that BDS have available to them to lock it off and bring it to a map number 3 here, Emmy. Tactical timeout seems to have worked out for now at least. And they need to find yet one more. Bar Gaming, next side we'll head to. It's probably the favorite side of any given team on this map currently. And also, a high defensive win rate so far. BDS, are you going to slip here, or is FaZe going to lose out?
It was the first. It was the lead-in, and it was how they opened up on these attacks on this half. It was their drive-in. And then since then, it's been, well, the best that they've done, but it's not over yet, and that's the trouble. That's the problem. And that's where FaZe are trying to turn themselves into diamonds, still scrappy and close all the way till the end. They have one more to go before they find themselves playing on the final map. Will we see our first 3rd in this day of supposed best of 3s, or are we going to bounce back and forth between 2 maps apiece throughout? What are FaZe going to change here as well? Because the take from BDS was arguably one of their cleanest, and that's why we haven't seen this site attempted since the first.
10 seconds
that is very true. We do see the hatch and the library being closed off, some punch holes being made into the box area as well to at least put up some pressure onto BDS if they approach from that side. Now potential roam could be big. Cyber put up a camera, so they might be able to get some information on potential rappel onto the northern side. Seems like they are aware, however. Shaiko was looking around but can't find it yet. IQ is also gone off the board, so that one will no longer be able to find it as Alems gets taken out. Astro with a great entry right here. The window was being opened up, but Astro just returns the fire. And that's the very first to fall. BDS, his match point might be slipping already.
Well, that was a tragedy for BDS fans right there. A big player gone by a return to a spray. The Flores is obviously now going to be that bit of just a watching window of possibility. Shaiko finds a bit of revenge, though. Able to creep up and put the pressure instantly back on. Drives his way through. And as we said, him showing up is an important part of this, and he's making sure that he goes all the way through. Suffers a little bit of pressure and toys with the idea of maybe trying to open something, but it's the spray down the stairs. And Lucy's at the bottom. Isn't able to land anything against it, but doesn't want to push too hard before the rest of the team is able to stack themselves up to offer a bit of support. He went for revenge and he got it, but he's got to make sure he doesn't get blinkered by that possibility.
You don't want to give away the man advantage that you just managed to equal again to your opponent. The smoke canister in the meantime, however, did get tossed out, so they could just slow the attack. One thing, though, is that a flank could still be on the cards here. There is a drone coming out now. Bullet has been spotted. Still going to be Cyber. Cyber0, who has been so effective. Could be wanting to go for a bit of a flank here as the pressure seems to be rising up. BDS want to take that top floor control now. That's what they're working on. But they need to get rid of the players in the library and on those blue stairs. As the very next point of interest.
Cyber goes for the hop over the top, and whether he's going to just see if he can offer something back against Fireplace or even further. This is a consistent of FaZe, is try and retake a little bit of territory and make their drone game out of date, even more impressively by making it more aggressive. Ranchiro is going to go for the grenade down to the deep side as Cyber is able to go back to the little door split, and Shaiko's going to find a fight maybe sooner than he realizes, but so is apparently Cyber. The pings are coming through. They have an angle and a hope, but they also only have about 40 seconds. And now as they steady their hammers down, it's a 4 versus 4, but they've still got to make their way downstairs to try and get this connection. There's Cyber. Pops up from the dog in corner, gets 1, and Cameraman gets 2. Instantly, that intel game has been punished by the lack of the updates that have been entirely leaned into by FaZe, and here now, Ranchiro and Bride have everything to try and do and pull this back together. Another fight, more of an extension, one down the stairs, it's Bullet that brings it back ground. There's at least one in a commiseration, but we are heading to OT.
FaZe managed to bring it back. They fend off both match points that BDS had accumulated. And that means now we are headed into an area, into a position where BDS could just as well lose it out here. There is no points to be given away. It's no longer group stages. It doesn't matter if you get to OT. It matters whether or not you win your map right now. And it all started off with Astro picking up that great kill. Yes, he was instantly after traded out, but Cyber0 able to put himself into that close corner, able to surprise them truly together with Bullet. He's will clean out that round, and now we're headed into a best of 3 in rounds. And it will be BDS on the defense. And I'm not sure what is currently favored, given how the match has gone so far.
It's impossible to call, that's the thing. A 3-3 either half. Now, it's obviously been a bit of a break in momentum.
Yeah.
So, we have a bit of a different application here. Who has been able to keep their game fresh from what was otherwise done before, and it's fair to say that BDS have a good bar hold. They won it both times. It was their only one that they had the repetition on that came to any level of success, but also that means that FaZe Clan know where they're going. They know what they might be able to bring to try and break that adaptation. It puts a little bit of a card into their hand because they have that knowledge. And it's something that BDS are going to have to try and double down onto the security of that 100% success rate.
That's it as well. FaZe have already tried to attack this traditionally twice. They have lost it twice as well. Maybe they're going to try something funky, as we like to say. Although it doesn't seem like it as of yet. Just normal drones being tossed out. Just trying to get for the library control at the very first moment to push onto the stairs and, of course, the chimney after. Chimney being the key point. That one has really ruined them before. The triple kill that came through from Ranchiro on that side with the SMG. It's not something you want to let happen again. Also, Bride inside the pantry has been a consistent problem for them, so you truly need to put up the pressure from inside that library.
Well, the Twitch drone is getting some intel and getting some work done. It's also a terrifying gun in the hands of Cyber, who hasn't been as loud as he was in the previous game, but still putting the even damage backed up by Cameraman and the explosive movements. But to be fair, pretty much everyone in this game has been able to put themselves into the firefight. Now, as they go for their clear here across the library balcony, they're going to see if they can get anyone behind that fireplace hold. You've got Cameraman on the rappel on the far side on the extension as that wall starts to be attempted to fall. Sounds like it'll pop off. They don't quite have the cover, and the canister's going to offer them some freedom, some escape. And you cannot stick that without that wall closed.
The chimney now has been taken care of. That was the first point of interest that truly has been hindering them. The next one will be Bride inside of the pantry. But cannot keep or lose an eye on as Ranchiro almost gets taken out there of the potential flank that could be coming out. Shaiko has dug himself in deep here on the piano. Could be striking at any given moment, but the drones do spot him out, so they're aware of his current position. They just need to make sure that they pick him up before he does too much damage.
That's it. Renshiro is the first to go, and that is a crawl across a big space. They might have some cover, but it's Alems that keeps it going. Bullet goes down. As the discs start to come together and they hear the walls pop, they're able to at least pick up the player, but suddenly it's back down anyway. Alems traded out by Astro, and the pressure is exploding. On its way towards the site itself, a canister buys a few very precious seconds, but Cyber says, I don't want to wait, and charges his way into the bar, gets one, goes for the second, and cannot find it. Pre-Day gets an important play in a clutch. Rafal's going for the rotation up the stairs now to get some revenge, and finds it! Retakes the verticality. Souls is in the site. He has the diffuser, but without that lockdown, he is in a very dangerous situation. 20 seconds and a moment to breathe inside the pantry, and they have this watch down from both angles, both sides. They do not have to throw themselves into this. They know he has to plant, know he has to find a spot, and he knows that they know that, and he also knows that they're watching him and listening to him. The pistol is a last-ditch Hail Mary, but it is not going to connect, and BDS once again are on map point.
BDS from the pantry there, coming in big, able to stall a lot of time, get up a kill as well to Cyber, who tried to push him out. They really needed to synchronize there, go with two at the very same time. You'd at least lose one, but you would have the pressure still going your way. And now BDS are on yet another map point. Are they going to be able to lock off this one though? They failed to do it twice before. And FaZe, they want to bring it back yet once again. They want to make this a max OT and push it up to that 50-50 we have seen before. It is so far just back and forth in these rounds on either side. One of them can take this map, but one of them will be eliminated if the other does.
Flores back on the board. The 6th pick, as is Kaid. They're going to see if they can actually get into the map this time. Obviously, an early loss in the gun of Alems is a blow, but also that utility. You think at how good that can be at clearing any of the holds, especially when there is no mute on the board. When you're looking at the potential of the hold at the top of the stairs, when you're looking at fireplace and chimney and all those angles, it just gives you so much, and also gives you the chance to open up some verticality angles, rotation across box. Not being part of the play last time meant that we never really saw the play that BDS wanted to make. So it's time for take two. Time for a more tepid approach, and time for FaZe Clan to see if they can repeat what they managed before.
It will be their goal. As you see, all 5 of them currently setting up. The match, the round has started. Souls inside of the pantry. Obi trying to do what BDS has done 2 times before so far. Holding off that jump in from that window. Holding off the more relative safe position to plant as soon as you do start getting down that diffuser. BDS, they need to start again with gathering information, taking the ground and putting up the pressure onto the players of FaZe, who so far have been able to strike, and strike first. Quite consistently as well, even though it is getting better now.
That's it. They've warmed up into this, and they were not too long ago on their attacks, and not too long ago went a pretty good distance with them. And their opener, when they started, was this site and was a win. They're great on the turn of the half, but it's burying that home. It's keeping that consistency that seems to be the problem that's plagued them. Here, they've gone for a slightly different approach. Over the top, they're not going for the direct take underneath as it did punish them before. Although Shaiko got revenge, it came at the cost of what is an important power player, as I listed. As I said, that shield in the hands or against Flores isn't the biggest nightmare.
It definitely isn't. Just an RCE is going to be able to take that out. However, you need to keep in mind that Bullet is playing near the chimney, has the opportunity to provide some cover, really forcing the RCEs to come through that window. That's the relative safe space. That's a blind spot. It seems like FaZe is falling back off that side. They're not really that bothered with holding the top floor in their control as flashbangs are being tossed in. Surely that shield gets taken out soon. Wallbangs are being attempted as well, but nothing quite hits yet. Grenades tossed in there to get rid of that shield. Successfully does so as well. The question is now, however, with FaZe dropping off from that top floor, where do they want to go?
That's it. 2 minutes, and they were more than happy to just give it up without the fight that we've often seen a lot of other teams stick. It is important But FaZe disagree, and now it's time to prove why. What's their plan that's going to bring this together? Alems died at this window before, and well, we just saw a ping that gave the game away that someone wasn't too far away. And there's Rafal, who is blown away. Renshiro massively injured by the C4 over that approach as well. And that is a huge takeaway. The fight over the top of the boxes comes together. The two players that opened this take last time, but they're going to pull off, fall away. Souls is trying to find a fight, but it's Bullet that actually gets the drop in the end onto Alems and puts another blow into them. Renshiro can't get the cleanest entrance, but Shaiko does, descends the stairs and drops the body. Cameraman was holding it off. You can see two players inside Snowmo, and now one less player in the site. Bride is making his way towards it. He's going to see if he can get his way in and get that stuck. But Super Astro does a super play and pops it off. Now on Fireplace, the diffuser's cold in the middle of the room. It's a 3 versus 1 once again. Renshiro can't get the connection, and we are going all the way.
Max OT is on the board here. Whoever wins the next round will take this game, or rather, the map, because it could still go through a third. If BDS manage to win this one, we are heading to our decider. If FaZe take this, we have yet another 2-0 on our hands. Coach quickly going for some last shoulder taps there to motivate his players. He's, of course, not really allowed to talk. Are we in a tactical timeout? My timer's paused, so... we are in a tactical timeout. It's BDS, so they are allowed to talk. I was really confused there. Saw people talking, so the timer not moving anymore. It's like, who called this one? Well, it's BDS, and rightfully so.
I mean, they know how important it is. They know what rests on just one round. You can play however many throughout a tournament, but there is always a moment in terms of where it can break down to just one single round. And you've built up all the momentum, all the possibilities, and all the knowledge you've had within the game, all of the prep that you've brought into this game. But this is all there is now. Just the focus on this. No map 3 thoughts, no lifting a trophy thoughts. Unless it helps drive you, you are just playing one round of Siege.
This is survival, and Bios, their coach, now needs to really get everything together. There's only 45 seconds he is allowed to speak. Those 45 seconds, in those 45 seconds, he needs to motivate his men to, well, at least make sure they get this round and bring us to a map 3. Maybe they discussed the sites they will be defending, brought up some new strategies or some slight alterations. Maybe it's just a pep talk that went through. They know themselves the best. They know what they need in such a situation. And as we head towards Kitchen Dining, round 15 is underway. The prep phase will start off, and shortly FaZe will find out what BDS, oh, they already have, will be playing.
Oh, I think they knew. This was the 100% success rate. The previous hold, FaZe took a bit of a gamble. They were 50-50 on bar, and when they'd opened it before they'd lost it, they lost it again. That's a gamble. They tried to push themselves off, and they still had this as an option. And 100% success rate in this game. Their statistical best defense site, and a bit of the stress now.
A bit. It's going to be a lot of stress on the shoulders here of BDS. Shaiko has woken up, however. 14 kills so far, followed up by Renshiro on 11 on his team. The question is, has he woken up soon enough? Because we are in this max OT. It is now do or die for BDS. FaZe, they know that they can afford to lose this map, thus the pressure might be a little bit less. Surely they do not want to go to the third map, but they know there is the opportunity. Their entire tournament does not rest on this entire round.
And away we go. Cyber to the top of the balcony is going to see if he can make his approach. Zastro puts the pressure onto Library on the far side. They're trying to pinch out Shaiko, who is having a good game, and that's a little bit of a dampener because when he's able to strike, he's able to take a lot of cost. They are backed up by Rafal, who's been able to at least put some of the bullets back into the fight, but this is FaZe locking in, eyeing up the potential push here and the vertical control that they want to flaunt and have done every single time they've gone against this site so far. So sort of saying it was a bit of a split, 50-50 there for BDS, and it's generally been a pretty solid standard for FaZe Clan with 100% on their defenses. They know how they like to play against this site. They know like to put the pressure on it. They're going to see if they can make it cook.
Alems is a key player currently for BDS. He's been able to trick 2 drones so far, and with that he has been able to, well, make his way all the way to the bottom floor. He's trying to stay alive there, as waste as much time as he possibly can to go for a big flank, but it seems like he has been spotted out. They know where he is, and the challenge is on. More drones follow, but FaZe do not want to take the risk. They do not want to take the gamble. Instead, they're holding his exit points. He needs to go up these stairs again if he wants to make his way out, and Cyber is the one responsible for it. But Alems, he decides to stay now, and there's going to be 80 seconds left to go. 80 seconds could be the end of BDS as Alems gets caught. It's Cyber that picks up the very first kill and brings it to a 5v4, and 70 seconds are left and counting. Grenades will be used and might deal some damage, not too much to BD. However, they do know that the pressure is coming in from below as well.
That's it. It's the alternate take here that's come through for them, but they read that weakness, they read that spot and that player, and they made sure that they had the big impact against the Lems underneath. And now, with less than a minute, they're going to see if they can focal and set their lengths and their lenses directly towards the back. There's an entrance, there's a kill, there's an attempt on the plant, and one more kill. Cyber on a triple on the round that matters the most. Shaiko battles back, but it's the spray on the backside. Rafale strikes a 3 versus 1. It's all down to the player. They're going to see if they can stick it one more time. He's down on the ground. He takes the fight. He's looking for the planter. He gets that through the hatch. It is FaZe. A single player hit the boards in the deck at the right time, and BDS was so close.
It was a shot or 2 away, but he had no clue that he would be dropping the hatch at that moment in time. And just look at how happy FaZe is. They will make it to the semi-finals as the first Brazilian team to do so during this major. One of their teammates have been knocked out, or fellow Brazilian teams have been knocked out. And now BDS will go home as well. Yet once again, they are not gifted with a grand final. This time they don't even make it past the quarters. And that means that if not now, then when? Will not be now, but when?
Well, we knew this game was going to go a bit of a distance, and we still are yet to see a map 3. But BDS, again, as you said, that disconnect on the main stage, and FaZe, who had a little bit of a struggle at points, they were able to lock it out. They get a bit of revenge for what Rogue handed to Latin America earlier today, and they keep a little bit of a balance in a fight in the game itself. We're going to throw it over to our desk, and they're going to break this one down for us.
Thank you very much, M and Hap, and what a match we had. We went to Chalet, it went max OT, and it went to the last second. BDS could not push it to a map 3. You know, much to my disappointment, but you guys predicted FaZe to take this, and they definitely took it, Jess.
Yeah, I predicted them because I thought they would win out of their own merit. So a bit of meritocracy on my behalf. I did think that they were probably, at least throughout the group stages, one of the most formidable forces, even though they had a quote-unquote easy group.
Yep.
I know you tried to reverse curse BDS.
Yeah.
It looks like we met in the middle, and unfortunately, it just fell just shy.
Let's be fair, BDS probably lost it when they lost their map pick in Bank, because they put in a very, very bad performance. It was much better on Chalet, but it was a struggle, because you've only got 2 defensive sites. If you can only defend 2 sites, and even one of those in Dining Kitchen not being particularly good, it's always going to be a struggle for FaZe.
Well, throughout these replays, it's going to tell a very, very sad tale, especially for those of us who expected BDS to finally get their very first international trophy, and it won't be. Every time, so close yet so far. Last Mexico major, they got to the semi-finals.
They're regressing.
Yeah, they are regressing.
That's not a good sign.
I mean, like Hap said, the question was always when and where, but it looks like the question now will be more of a when again. Right.
And I think it's interesting from BDS's point of view, because they coast through EUL. They genuinely, they have quite an easy time in EUL. It's fair to say, unbeaten. They see that as like what they deserve. They see these international tournaments as a challenge, and that they need to be at the top. And they just keep hitting this same wall, this same ceiling. They just keep hitting it and hitting it.
If your ceiling is making it to the playoffs of every major and consistently being, you know, one of the top teams in your region, is that necessarily bad?
It's not bad, but when you want to be the best, and they clearly,
yes, clearly,
they want to be the best. They've got the investment to be the best. That's the standard. That's what they should be holding themselves to.
Absolutely, and I think every team, and we would all agree with this, even you and I when we were coaches, you want to go to the top. Even if you do great beyond your ceiling, you want to go to the top. So for them not to be able to reach it yet again at yet another major, they still have 6 invitational, but I mean, that could be yet another tale.
Was it the stress this time, Fresh? And I will ask both of you actually more of an open question in this case, because you both had that experience as coaches. So
I think it was maybe nerves, particularly on Bank, like I say, because we've seen them on Bank absolutely decimate most teams they've come up against.
Yep.
And it was the fact they were facing a team that was like almost shooting back, that had a plan for them on Bank and executed their plan well. It was a little bit of nerves and a little bit of, you know, just day one jitters. So once that had happened, they'd already lost because Chalet was going to be a struggle. And then Oregon as a decider map would have been fine, but we've not seen BDS play it well recently. They lost, oh no, they didn't lose. They won, but in overtime, to Heroic, who were our straight up relegated team out of EUL. They lost to them on Oregon. So the map bans in conjunction with a first map of Bank probably what lost it for BDS on the day.
It's a real big shame for the EU fans out there, because now, I mean, we're looking towards whatever hope we can get. I'm sure there's a lot of us now that are maybe tilting our favor towards Damwon Kia. I know you and I are looking towards that APAC North prowess.
I'm just going to say, Jess, we are set up perfectly for one semi-final team from every region now. Should SSG make it through?
Should.
And you've cursed it. Well done, sir.
Sorry, SSG.
Honestly, but you know what? Rogue is still, friendship ended with BDS. Now Rogue is my friend. 8-7. FaZe v BDS on Chalet. Cyber had a hell of a game, and despite Shaco's best efforts, it was all for none. FaZe really coming out on top here. And man, you really have to feel for BDS in this case going to the final round, but FaZe had their number the whole time too.
They did, and there was just small things, and it wasn't that they did a full counter-analysis playbook. It was just little things dotted about. They were ready for the wing conditions of BDS, I would say, especially the lurk coming out of the Lems. We've seen the Lems have quite a bad day. They shut the Lems down particularly well because they knew exactly what he was going to do. BDS are a team where we've had concerns about them being adaptable and also counterable, where they tend to do a lot of the same things. So to see FaZe just implement them really small ideas, it was really good to see, and that's, you know, another thing that helps them win this game.
All right, my friends, so back to you in a moment. Let's have a chat with our victors FaZe clan. Cameraman is on camera. I don't know how that works.
Hello, guys.
Hello, cameraman. So good to see you. Congratulations on your victory and moving through the tournament now into the semis. First, it looked like in the groups there wasn't much that could really take you down, and now you shoot down the best team that Europe has produced this year. How does it feel like for FaZe?
It feels amazing. I love these guys. We worked so hard to get here, and it's a pleasure to play along with them and have these improvements since the first part of the year. And stage 2 on BR6 we had some struggle. As I was saying, like Cyber girlfriend delivered, and that kind of took hesitation a bit, and now we have Cyber. This is Cyber.
Incredible Cyber that played incredibly well in this entire series. And let's talk about that then. Bank was map number 1. You absolutely smashed BDS. What was there that you felt your team had that gave you that advantage to demolish the best EU team on one of their coziest map in Bank?
Yeah, we looked to the stats of their bank. It was pretty scary, to be honest. They had a really good bank this season, but I think our bank's better. We played better, even with some struggle. In my opinion, we had some communication struggle there at the beginning, but we ended up winning. So, yeah.
Do you think you had something special planned for Bank, or during the game, or were you just adapting on BDS constantly?
If I do, I won't tell you.
I'm trying here, okay? I'm trying. I bet. I just want to pull out all those strats. You know, we got Fresh here on the desk, and he played alongside G2. He knows all about saving strats. So we want to pull them out of people at this point. You might have to use them as the tournament goes.
Yeah, you find out.
Well, you go into Chalet, and it goes all the way to max OT. So what happened there? What was kind of the thorn in your side that pulled you to the end before you were able to defeat BDS?
I think we slipped up a little bit in the beginning, as we had in Bank too. We should have switched sides like 4-2, but yeah, like we had got a lot of resilience, and yeah, I think Ramalho had a good adaptation too to the bar defense. They were smashing us, and then we just reinforced 2 hatches and put kite on it, and we just fall back. So I think that's the main reason that we won Chalet. So yeah, it's Ramalho. How do you say? It's Ramalho business. He did it great. Yeah.
It's his job.
It's his job.
Yeah. Do. He is the expert at it on the team. And you know, now having beaten BDS, you're locked in for the semis, but you're playing Damwon Kia from Korea, and of course from APAC North. Did you expect to go up against them, and what do you have to say to them?
I expected an easy game for, again, like Sandbox and Kia. I know Kia is a pretty strong team. They're better than Sandbox, and it's gonna be a tough game for sure. But we're gonna prepare just we did like against BDS. So yeah, it's a strong team, but we have everything to win, and hopefully we can have a good match tomorrow.
You think LATAM has what it takes to take down APAC in a semi?
I hope so.
Can't wait to see it. Anything you want to say to all the fans out there, cameraman?
Just thank you, all my fans, my family. Queria mandar beijo aí pra minha família toda, Fernanda aí, meus pais estão me assistindo, meus amigos, então é isso aí, gratidão, estamos aqui, estamos dando o nosso melhor e espero que vocês estejam curtindo aí em casa o show aqui, isso aí.
Thank you very much, cameraman. Muito obrigado, and
obrigado.
Congratulations on your victory against BDS. So go up against Damwon Kia. Can't wait to see that semi-final tomorrow. Until then, get some rest and good luck.
Thank you.